Former President Rodrigo Duterte said the confidential funds of the Office of the Vice President will bring tremendous contribution to protecting the youth among the terrorist New People's Army or NPA. Jayson Rubrico files this report.
In his program Gikan sa Masa para sa Masa on SMNI, former President Rodrigo Duterte answered the issue regarding the confidential funds requested by the Office of the Vice President and Department of Education. For President Duterte, the confidential funds will help curb the recruitment of the New People's Army or NPA among young people, especially students.
Kasi kung ako ang presidente, bigyan ko. Yung creeping sa mga komunista, sa mga estudyante, malaking bagay yan, actually. And walang specific area dito sa intelligence community na nakatutok dyan sa estudyante. Yung pagpasok ng mga left or the Communist Party of the Philippines in recruiting students. Kita mo marami yung mga bata. Ang masakit pa dito, the tragedy of it all is yung mga taga-UP na pumasok doon, mga valedictorians, karamihan dyan, salutatorians, valedictorians. Yun yung brilliant na mga bata, mga anak natin na kukuha. But para sa akin, makukuha ko, mabasa ko yung the purpose really is to stop the intrusion of the left into the student body. Diyan nakukuha yung mga leader. Kita mo yung mga leader nila, ang babata. Yun pa ang pinakamatindi. And they tumatanda sila. Karamihan mga UP.
The former president explained that the confidential fund is vital in countering NPA recruitment in educational institutions, particularly in high schools and colleges.
Ibigay yan doon sa mga principal o superintendent or whatever, matitignan nila saan yung recruitment banda. You need special money for that. Yung budget ng Office of the President, nakalista lahat yan eh. Everything is accounted for. But the Office of the Vice President is not given the police power. But insofar as the interest of the young people is concerned, if it is really the purpose of the Vice President to stop or at least minimize yung palaging inuudyok yung mga anak natin sa left to dito. Hindi naman yan sa mga kindergarten eh. Hindi yan gagamitin sa kindergarten. Actually, sa high school pati college.
President Duterte added that the amount of confidential funds requested by OVP and DepEd is very small. And when he was asked how much he would request if he were the vice president, here's what he said.
At saka maliit yan, Pastor.
Maliit masyado yan eh.
Kung ako ang I'd ask for about 500 million. Ibigay ko yan sa mga ROTC program, mga PMT, yung sa high school. Bigay ko yan dyan sa mga supervisor, sa mga superintendents. Hindi mo yan, ilista mo yan. At pagkatapos, bigay mo doon sa COA. Then COA will examine, dito, superintendent, nabigyan ba yan? Check. Tanggap mo ba? Check. Prove ito. Si principal ng gano'n.
The former president further explained that there are guidelines for spending confidential funds.
Hindi naman yung confidential fund na you spend the money as if it is really your own. It's not that. There are always guidelines. There are instructions to be followed. Mababarak ka dyan pag liquidate mo tapos wala kang sabihin mo lang, ginastos mo ng ganon. Notice of disallowance yan. Ibig sabihin, COA, Commission on Audit, would not find it a plausible reason or purpose of using public funds.
Vice President Sara Duterte first explained DepEd's need for confidential fund, wherein she underscored that the education of the youth is also related to national security. According to the Vice President, part of the said fund will be used against illegal activities that target students, including sexual grooming and sexual abuse in schools, recruitment to terrorism, and abuse of illegal drugs. For God and my beloved Philippines, I am Jayson Rubrico, as in
For former President Rodrigo Duterte, those who were once considered enemies of the state but have now returned to the fold of the government are welcome to do so. However, the former president reminded that they must obey the laws and follow the agreement they made on abandoning their former group or movement. Franco Baranda reports.
Economic order.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte sees nothing wrong with former enemies of the state like Moro National Liberation Front or MNLF or Moro Islamic Liberation Front or MILF joining forces with the government. It can be remembered that in the month of July, more than 1,000 MNLF and MILF former rebels passed exams to enter into the Philippine National Police. The former president, he said, this is a good step in promoting peace and order in a large part of Mindanao, particularly in the Bangsamoro region. It is better for the government to win their enemies and have them work for the government instead, as well as discussing their grievances and problems, the very reason why they went against the government in the first place.
Kung ang presidente kaligaya ko, if I can recruit my enemy, ikaw, yung kalaban ko, sabi ko dito ka na lang, magtrabaho tayo. You work for the government and then magsama tayo at the same time, pag-usapan natin yung problema kung ano talaga. I cannot be, hindi personalized to na yung problema mo, iyo. It's the community. What's ailing? What's ailing? Ano bang, ano dyan sa community? What's ailing you? Let me know. Pag-usapan natin. Pero, yung magsabi mo nandiyan ka sa kabila, well, that's another problem. Alam mo na, kung hindi natin madala sa usapan ng mabuti, and we disagree, we agree to disagree and disagree until it ripens into a controversy. From a controversy, it would be a conflict. Then it would be government against you, or could be some else's interest that you are bearing. Yan ang ano niyan. So pag-usapan natin ito.
But the former president has a reminder for those who have returned to the fold of the government, and that is to obey the law.
At naging
Kaligaya ko na lang kung yung NPA na leader dyan maging mayor ng Davao City. But do it within our constitution.
Amen.
Kunin mo. At susuporta pa ako. Marami ng NPA dyan na yung mga leaders ng Democratic Front. Maraming mga estudyante ngayon, mga babright. Kaligaya ko na lang na bumaba kayo.
Tulungan ng government.
Kain pa tayo sa bahay mo. Bahay ko kung gusto ninyo.
Very
Alam mo na magkalaban lang tayo sa prinsipyo, hindi naman personalan to.
Meanwhile, for those who are still in the mountains and refuse to let go of the wrong ideology against the government, former President Rodrigo Duterte again encouraged the rebels to return to the fold of the government rather than wear themselves out in hiding from the forces of the government.
The best way is if you can be with the government. Kaligaya ko na lang kung magpasok sila lahat sa army. Yung NPA. Pero kayo mga NPA, magbili kayo ng nail cutter. Tangin nakikita ko sa bukid yung mga kuko ninyo, ang itim, maraming lupa dyan sana. Linis mo na kayo ng kuko. Bili kayo ng nail cutter. Dudumi pa, walang ligo. Sige, takbo. Tapos, mas matapang pa sa iyo. Anong klase?
It can be remembered that under the Duterte administration, the former president himself led the establishment of the Executive Order 70, or the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, or NTF-LCAC, which led to the consecutive surrender of several former CPP, NPA, and NDF members. In fact, many of the former rebels say that their lives have been changed by being given opportunities such as free education. Meanwhile, on the side of the Philippine National Police, they are making sure that anyone who wants to join their ranks goes through a correct and strict recruitment process, including former enemies of the government from the New People's Army, local terrorists, and moral rebels. Currently, the Philippine National Police continue to look into opening their ranks to other moral rebels who are undergoing tests and trainings to be part of the National Police. For God and my beloved Philippines, I am Franco Baranda, SMNI News.